Okay. Here's the thing about the strike. So it hasn't been going well, and here's how I know it's gotten probably worse.
Uh,
Video games are about to strike as well. Like video game acting, they're about to strike as well. Uh,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
I mean, good, but it's not going well for like negotiations, or like they're not offering. Like right now, I'm picturing all the writers and the actors going like that scene in How I Met Your Mother where Marshall has like the Indiana Jones whip and he's just going not good enough and just whipping it. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much what they're going through right now. So it looks like they just voted to accept it. They haven't moved forward yet, but yeah, it looks like video games are going to start to be affected as well.
Well, on the other side, some good news about the strike. AMC caved, thankfully.
AMC cave.
Yeah, apparently, from the headline that I saw, maybe we should get a secondary confirmation. I did see one filming their Walking Dead spinoffs because if AMC doesn't have The Walking Dead, they have nothing.
Who's watching those? Don't say you.
I haven't watched a single episode of The Walking Dead since they killed Glenn, and I actively told Nikki I will not pick this show back up until they kill Negan, and then I'll rewatch from there. Like I'm
All
not
right.
watching at any point. And unfortunately, Negan became a super fucking popular character.
Well, so was Glenn until, you know.
You know, he just beat the shit out of he just beat the shit out of like the most beloved character, maybe one of the most beloved characters in the show. I'm not gonna overplay it. But
Yeah.
yeah, apparently AMC supposedly caved into the demand, so that's good news.
Okay. It's a start. It's a start. Anyways, yeah, everyone keep supporting the strike, keep supporting the writers and the actors. There's links, there's stuff. Keep at it. They've done a good job standing their ground, and we are on their side. So yeah, good for them.
Oh, also good news. This
Yeah.
is a minor thing, but I feel like this is enough for me to be like, you know what, this is a good thing to happen. So there's a movie that's coming out on October 13th. I don't know if you know about it,
Oh
called the
hell
Taylor
yeah.
Swift
Yeah, I
Eras
saw
Tour
that.
film. So good thing, actually. So that movie's going to release, and you might think, oh, that's not a good thing. That's going to benefit the studios. Actually, no. Taylor specifically partnered with AMC theaters, not any of the film studios. So all the money that like tour movie generates will go straight into the one Taylor's pocket because fair enough, but also AMC's pocket to help their theater chain as they struggle with fewer and fewer films, which is a good thing, I'd argue.
Definitely. I did saw that, yes, and I mean it's exactly the PR move that she needs to do to show that she's both standing on their side, and also it's like another step in like her plan towards world domination because like it's fucking insane, like what's
Hashtag Taylor for
happening.
president.
Like here's how insane this is. I went to a Taylor Swift tribute concert night here
Oh my god.
because that's the closest thing that we're gonna have. Like my city was gonna have to like the Eras tour,
Yeah.
and it was packed. This was a bar that has like a concert venue in it, and it was packed as if it was like the actual. It was incredible. It was amazing. I had a blast. But when I
So
tell you that like we are starved for content, even though she's giving us so much, so yeah, those tickets are gonna sell like crazy.
do you think so this was probably the summer of Taylor. Do you think there is there any more ground for her to break after this? I'm sure there is. I just don't know it. Maybe a
Uh,
global tour?
this tour is supposed to already be global, so
Oh, see,
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
know that. I thought
Yeah,
she was just touring the US and maybe
nope.
Canada. She
Well,
did 4 straight shows in Mexico. I know that.
yeah, she said world tour, and it's like Mexico, and it's like United States, 3 shows in Mexico, 4 shows in Canada. That's it. I think it's gonna like expand little by little.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
so you want to talk about one stretchy son of a bitch?
I want to talk about the stretchy son of a bitch.
Chema, hit the intro.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema,
I'm Eddie.
reviewing One Piece Netflix live action. How are we calling this? Netflix
One
2020,
Piece.
One Piece 2023. This is the rollback. Wealth, fame, power. One Piece is a legendary high seas quest unlike any other. Luffy is a young adventurer who has longed for a life of freedom ever since he can remember. He set off from his small village on a perilous journey to find the legendary fabled treasure, the One Piece, to become king of the pirates. So, One Piece is not only the most popular and enduring like anime manga of all time, it's also probably the most important story being told concurrently, like right now. Oda is, I think, one of the most important storytellers of our time. Probably one of them will be remembered just because of how impressively large he made this world, so complete and everything. And now we have a live action adaptation, 8 episodes, expanding the East Blue saga, the East Blue arc, which is around 50 something episodes of the anime. Mm-hmm. And this is a live action show. It's 8 1 hour long episodes, and they were done by Netflix, and they are led by Iñaki Godoy, who plays Luffy. McKenyu playing Roronoa Zoro, Emily Rudd playing Nami, Jacob Romero Gibson as Usopp, and Taz Skylar as Sanji. So these are all very well known and beloved characters. This is a very loved and well beloved story, and this is coming in a very very long tradition and line of terrible botched anime live action adaptations, to the point where when I heard that One Piece was being done in live action, I thought, man, just cancel it right now. That is not gonna work at all. It's just the ones that I thought could work live action haven't worked, and this one, it's so cartoony, it's so expressive, it's so unique. It kind of needs to be done as an animated thing. And then the show came out last Thursday, and man, last week when we talk about Blue Beetle, and I told you, man, it's been a long time coming for a Mexican superhero. Man, it's been a long time coming for a good live action anime adaptation. Man, I'm so happy. Oh God, it's like you healed my 2 inner childs in just a span of a couple of weeks.
I have a phrase that I want to coin. I want to, people create like new terms for new things. I've got a phrase I want to coin. I'm gonna call it ramping. Realistic anime camping, but it's good. One Piece is. Here's the biggest thing that I think I can say that's a positive about it. Like the best compliment I can give it. This One Piece is so good. Like this show is so good. It actually makes me think maybe they could do Dragon Ball Z in real life. That's how good this anime was. I was like, give this man, whoever created this, give him the keys to DBZ. Maybe they can actually do it. Maybe they can make a good live action Fullmetal Alchemist.
I don't know, man. I think that world is also extremely expansive and so hard.
Who thought that they could have done One Piece live action? Like, this show is so good from beginning to end. Luffy as a character, I always thought the biggest obstacle to creating a DBZ live action, who do you cast as Goku? Like, who can embody? It's impossible. But, I'm sorry, what's the kid's name? The one that plays Luffy?
Iñaki Godoy.
Iñaki Godoy.
You got it.
This young man gives me hope, because his portrayal of Luffy is camp. It's positive. But it's not positive without being stupid. Does that make sense? He's not overly positive. He's not dumb. He's just like, we're gonna do this. Like,
he's confident.
It's. I feel like this show to me has replaced Ted Lasso as a feel-good show.
Definitely. I think it's definitely a show that is gonna right to the core of the show, because the main theme of One Piece is about following your dreams. Like that's it. That's the goal. That's the goal of One Piece. When I first started the anime, I remember thinking like, okay, because like before watching it, we all think the same thing, which is like, my God, it's 1,000 episodes. Like how, like but everyone that I know that sees it loves it. So they must be right. This show must have something. And then you start it, and you start to get into the groove. And then when you get into like the groove of the show, there's a moment. Everyone has like that one moment in One Piece that makes you go, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm set for life. I'm part of this crew for like the rest. I'm with them till the end of the line." And when I got to that moment in the show, that oh my god, there's 900 episodes left became, oh my god, there's a 900 episodes left. Like yes, like I'm
Excitement.
so excited. Yes, and that's why I personally do not care at all what the One Piece is. I don't care. I don't care what the treasure is. Like
Mhm.
just seeing them go on these adventures is enough of a treasure. And that was the vibe that the show needed to capture. Now, this show had the benefit of a couple of things, which is one, it's the most expensive show that Netflix has ever made, surpassing The Crown, surpassing every other show that they've done. The fact that they built the ships, that they built a lot of the sets, and that it's the most expensive production ever done in Africa because that's where they filmed the show. And yeah, and they found relatively unknown and up and coming actors. Iñaki Godoy, like we mentioned, he plays Luffy. McKenyu has played who plays Zoro. I've seen him in a couple things. I saw him in the Knights of the Zodiac live action that came out earlier this year. The movie was not good, but he was actually pretty good in it. Emily Rudd, we saw her in Fear Street. She was in the Fear Street movies. She was the older sister in the second one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, Jacob Romero Gibson. This guy I have not seen him at all. He plays Usopp, and Taz Skyler plays Sanji, who I have also have not seen him before. But yeah, so the show kind of lives and dies on their shoulders, especially Iñaki, who he's Mexican, so of course he has that. We already like him from that, but he has to embody one of the most iconic characters ever, like one of the most iconic characters ever made, ever put into fiction, and he has to show off his like positivity. He has to the effect of the stretchiness needs to work. It's very, very hard. So I want to show you right here. Here's my list of pros and cons. As you can
Christ.
see, they're both pretty expensive, but the first one at the very top on my pros list, Iñaki Godoy as Luffy. He nails it, man. He nails it. The fact that he's right there at the very front and the show has to kind of live and die on his tiny, tiny little shoulders, man, he runs with it. To me, he's the most attuned actor playing his role. He's so good at playing Luffy. He's so like he gets it. He gets exactly how Luffy's supposed to act, how he's supposed to move. There's very specific little moments. Like there's a moment when they're in Kaya's house and he's walking around the kitchen and he like takes a bite out of something and then he'll put it in his pocket. And it's so stupid, but it fits his character so well. Like that's exactly what he would do. But then also he brings in a lot of charm. Like he is Mexican, he's speaking in English, but like every once in a while his accent would slip, and that's kind of endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very endearing. Like every time that he calls Nami by her name, like his accent kind of slips. He doesn't say Nami, he says Nami. Like it kind of like slips, and he calls Soro. Like yeah, like things like that really really work. His love for his hat, like a lot of things just really really work. So I have a list of pros and cons. I don't know if you maybe I should let you go first because I feel like this, and we'll touch up when we get to these.
I mean,
Unless, or we can go like one by one here, and then you can chime in with them. I don't know. What do you think?
I'll chime in with yours because I feel like if like when we covered the Batman, it was very clearly I had a lot to say. I feel like this is one of those projects where it's like, shut up, you're driving. Go ahead, you're driving.
All right, fine. I'm gonna start with my pros, and then we'll go to cons. Okay.
Gotcha.
So my first prawn, Iñaki Godoy as Luffy. Second, practical sets, ships, effects, and makeup. The ships are real. The Going Merry Go is real. The fact that they because the Going Merry in the anime, like it's a very cartoony goat face, but in this one they made it look both majestic and still a little cartoony. So that's actually pretty good. I like the ship. I like they built the sets. I like how the fishmen look. Though that could have looked horrible, and they made it look so realistic. Like yes, that not only is that especially Arlong, that not only is his design faithful, to the cartoon, but also to like that's what it would look like. He's purple. He's got like the clothes, his voice, even the music that they're playing is good. Um, Commitment to the bit. The fact that this is a very cartoony idea, like the world of One Piece is so big and so large, and the world building is so like big that I can't believe that they managed to make it very accessible, which is my next point. It's very accessible to new viewers. Because, like, look, you told me that you watched the 4 Kids stuff when you were a kid.
I watched a few of those episodes. I
Yeah,
remember
but
that.
like how like also the fact that those episodes are like censored to all hell. Like when you were watching this, were you reminded of that, or like were you taking this as a new experience?
The only thing I remember is even as I was a kid, I was a shitty critic. I'll say that much, but I'm about to say what I'm about to say. I remember not liking Nami's character. I
Mhm.
remember thinking, why should I like her? I remember thinking, why should I care about this pink kid? He's never around. Who the fuck is the guy with the red hair? He's not in any of the episodes that I've seen. Like all those questions made me not watch One Piece when I was a kid. Like turned me off from it.
Mhm.
Um, that said, though, like this show is, I think, a perfect starting off point. It exists perfectly by itself, but if you're interested in watching the whole anime, watch this. You get a pretty good idea, and then you maybe can watch the anime and go from there. I think it's a good starting point, kind of like the way DBZ and Sailor Moon were like the gateway anime for a lot of people in the West. I feel
Yeah,
like this live action show is a great gateway for people to start watching the actual One Piece.
yeah. I think if you like this one, I don't recommend starting where this leaves off. I recommend starting
Oh
from
no, no,
the
I mean start from the
beginning.
beginning.
Yeah, I recommend starting from the beginning just because there's a lot of interactions and a lot of moments that are so like inherently One Piece that need to consume them. Like they are part of the experience. That's gonna lead to a little bit of one of my cons, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Mhm.
Next, Jeff Ward as Buggy the Clown. Buggy the Clown is such a fan favorite character, and this is my hot take. I don't care for Buggy. I think
Really?
I think he's super overrated as a character. Like I love a ton of other characters in One Piece that I feel like the fact they keep giving him attention, I think it's a little excessive. But
Is it because he's a scary ass clown?
no, it's just that I don't know. I feel like I don't think he's that interesting in the same way that like a lot of the characters I think are more interesting. Um, but I gotta give props to the actor Jeff Ward who plays him. Not only was he able to portray like the kookiness and the sanniness and the obsessiveness of Bucky, but also like his voice manages to be both funny and pathetic and scary like at the same time. And I think
Mhm.
that's so hard because I feel like when a character is playing a clown character, they're trying really hard to not do Heath Ledger's as the Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
And the fact that he sounds or looks nothing like him and manages to do his own thing, I think is super hard because I think it would have been really easy to just fall into that.
Mhm.
But no, he understands that he is like a cartoon character. Yeah, and they committed to the bit because they made him tiny at the end. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. So I like that. I like how they made Bucky.
I
Um,
I liked him overall though as a character. I think as a bad guy, I imagine I don't know if he comes back as a good guy later. He's always an antagonist,
yes
but
and no.
huh?
Yes and no.
I mean, I don't hate him. I don't hate his backstory. I get why he's an asshole. I think one of the best things is some actors might look at this as like as One Piece, the show as a whole is like, oh god, I'm going to be a part of this show. But right from that point, I noticed everyone was committed to the source material. None of those actors were there because they didn't want to be. You could tell that they all were like, we're committing to this. Like you said, they commit to the bit. They committed, like, this is not some schlocky B movie bullshit on sci fi. We're going to do this seriously. We're going to make a real live action anime. And I think he was as important to it as anyone else because the first bad guy can turn you off a show, especially if he sucks.
I agree. And I feel like he is there to like. There's a reason why he was the introductory like baddie in the anime as well. So it makes sense that he's there. Next, Soros child actor. I His name is Maximilian Lee Piazza. Jesus Christ, what a good kid actor. Um, just overall, Sora's origin story, I think it was really well done. I think it was the best out of all of the, because we see everyone's origin story like us when they were kids.
Yeah.
So I think his was my favorite. And that actor, oof, good actor. Next, the fact that they built the transponder snails. So like
Who?
the snail phones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's such an out there design and such an out there idea for One Piece, and the fact that they committed and they made them like look so ugly and disgusting and realistic. Like I want one. I think they're so like they're kind of freaky, but there's such a One Piece thing. Like it's like the devil fruits. Like the design is so unique and the idea is so kooky. And I love that they included them in the show and they made them like such a normal part of their world. They even
Mhm.
created like original like Bluetooth ones, like the one that Nami uses. Like it's
That's
such good
true. I forgot about
such
that.
such a creative little idea, but I love that they committed. They built them like physically.
You know,
Mm.
there was one part where I was like, "Oh, I know what this. I know what she's doing." When she like, "Oh, I got lost with my people. This is all I have," and the two pirates get off the ship to go and get the treasure chest.
Oh
And they
yeah,
open
like
it,
at
and
the
there's like,
beginning.
"There's nothing," and they turn around, and she's like, "Bye." I was like, "Ah, I know this bit. I know this bit. I like
Yeah,
this bit." Yeah.
yeah. That moment was so like inherently Nami. Like it's crazy. Um, yeah. So that the wardrobes. I love that the first episode was called Romance Dawn. Like
Mhm.
that's such a little wink to the audience because Romance Dawn was like the original name for One Piece.
Mhm.
It was the like it was originally going to be called Romance Dawn, and then Romance Dawn is also like the name that like Oda kind of got attached to. That was the original one shot that One Piece was based on. The first arc of One Piece is also called Romance Dawn,
Mhm.
and some video games I think have also been called like One Piece Romance. So, like it's been like a long time coming. Like it makes sense to
Yeah.
call it that. Romance Dawn.
Oh,
Yeah,
we. Sorry, no, you finished Romans Dawn. I got something to say.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
We didn't talk about the opening scene.
the opening scenes.
There once
So,
was a
oh
king of the
yeah,
pirates.
the
That opening
narration
scene
the narration by
was
Ian McShane. Yeah,
no, not just the narration, but the acting. The whole opening sequence was awesome. Just the fact that like they have him at the gallows and they're like, any final words, and he's smiling in the face of death.
yeah,
And does he actually say like I left everything I own in one piece? Does he? I don't remember if he says that, but I
yeah.
just remember thinking, I
That's one of
love
my
how this
cons.
looks.
That's one of my cons that he doesn't actually say I left it all in one piece.
That's a fair
Um,
con. That's a fair con. I'll give you.
yeah, because then how does everyone else know that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But his smile, his laughter, I love
yeah,
that because you also see it later on in Luffy. And when we'll get, I guess we'll get to that part when we get there. But that opening scene, I love that opening scene. I was like, this is not as good as the rap, but I'll take it.
yeah, and it's definitely better than the rap. No,
No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding. I'm
so
just kidding.
Michael Dorman plays Gold Roger. And he's there. I what I also like about that scene is that in the audience, like in the like between the people, you can see different pirates that are going to be important. You see Shanks, you see a couple of other you see Hawkeye Mihawk, you see a couple of other characters, and you also see like a very young Captain Smoker, but we're gonna talk about him in a little bit. Um, yeah, so yeah, that scene, the first episode being called Romance Dawn, the fact that they acknowledge that Luffy is like asexual. This is very random. But like so Luffy like canonically an asexual character, and I was afraid that they were gonna like shy away from that. I like that they kind of like were very forward of that. Like Luffy's one and only love is the sea and food and his
Yeah,
ship. But I like how there's like a little moment when they're in Kaya's house and like Nami's trying on outfits and she's kind of showing them off and she's like, "How do I look?" And then Luffy's like, "You look like Nami." Like it's
yeah.
like yeah, like they didn't shy away from that. I like they did like a little nod to that. Arlong's sign, I mentioned that. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into like a small con because I think it's important that I do. Probably my biggest con actually. I've been very positive, so I think it's fair that I mentioned my biggest con with the show.
Mhm.
Soro and Nami, like physically are there. Emotionally, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they
Really?
did. Um, okay, so the way that they presented them was so Soro, man of few words, silent type, strong silent type,
Like a
spits with his
Vegeta type.
fist. Yeah. And Nami, they made her, very serious, very concerned, very like she only sees for herself, she only cares for herself. And this is all true of the characters in paper, but also they're fully three-dimensional beings. And I don't think the show explored that enough, or more than half of enough. Soro says like one or two lines every so often. Nami from the second that the show starts till the end, she's closed off. She doesn't joke. She doesn't like, she doesn't like nothing. And these are the personalities of the characters, but they're not. They can also do other things, and they do them in the anime. Soro is serious, but he's serious compared to Luffy. Soro has goofy moments, and they did not let him be goofy at all in this show. Like one of the biggest ongoing gags in One Piece that starts from the beginning is that Soro does not know his left from his right. He gets lost every single episode, and they like lightly acknowledged it in the live action show, but they were not. Why were they afraid? Like, were they afraid that this man, because the man that they got to play Soro is so hot, he's so fucking hot, and they didn't let him be funny. Like, why? Like, let me give you an example. There's a
Mhm.
scene in the Skypiea arc where like they are in the Going Merry and they have to get off, but they have to swing through this with these vines, like from the ship to get to get to shore. And Soro is the first one to grab a vine, and he swings. And as he swings, he starts yelling like Tarzan. Like he goes like full on commits. He's not bored throughout. He's enjoying it. He's like, oh, and he like swings and gets to the other side. And Nami sees him holding a vine, and she just goes, "What a fucking idiot! Like what a fucking idiot! What a child! I'm surrounded by children." And then she swings, and then she hits herself with a tree. And Sora just kind of looks at her on the ground and just tells her like, "You should have yelled." Like it's like that's them. Okay,
Mhm.
that's them to a T. Like they have like those moments. They're loud. They're boisterous. Like when Soto gets drunk, he's funny. Like he's loud. And this one, he's fun. He drinks, but he's like, "Oh, my only friend. Oh, I love to drink." It's like he does. There's no joy. There's no
Mhm.
joy in it, and that I can't help it, but it took it down. It took my enjoyment of the show a few pecks. It took it down.
Mhm.
Nami, when let's just jump heads up spoilers, but like when Nami betrays the Straw Hats and leaves with Arlong, you as the watcher, you're shocked. You can put some pieces together of some stuff that she said or some stuff that she did, but you're shocked and you're hurt and you're wondering how in the hell are they going to make right? How in the hell are they going to make us like her again and get them together again? Like you are genuinely concerned, and when you hear her backstory, it all starts to click. And when she asks Luffy to help her, it all clicks. And this one, sadly, because it's only 8 episodes, you can tell she's gonna betray them from the first one. Like the first episode ends with her talking to Arlong on the phone and being like, "I have the map." Like she tries to leave them several times. It's not One Piecing like it should post to One Piece.
Mhm.
And that's my biggest problem with this live action show. Like Soro and Nami just they're not. Usopp kind of, he's like a little better because he's allowed to be like a little bit more goofy. Sanji I think is the one that works the best, like Sans Luffy. But man, just there's a lot of joy that is missing from these performances, which sucks because the actors seem totally committed. The girl who plays Nami, like famously, is a One Piece fan. Like she wanted this, and I don't think it's their fault. I think it's the writing. I think the fact that he needs to just like just connect. But there's a lot of joy that is just taking out of this. They made a big deal about how like Nami and Soto are saying to each other like we're not a crew, we're not a team. That's not what they do in the show. From the second that they get together, they accept each other as teammates, they accept each other as crew, because Nami needs to put up that facade because she's gonna betray them later. But throughout, like for example, when Luffy starts to work as a waiter in as a chore boy in the restaurant, like there's a scene where like he walks out into the restaurant and he sees like the crew like eating, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And they're teasing him. They're like all three of them are drinking, and they're like, "Hey, chore boy, bring us more drinks." Like like they're making jokes, they're cracking up because they like each other, like they genuinely do. And we get to that at some point. We get to like when Soro like says like you're my captain till the end of the line. That's a sweet moment. It's a good moment. But there's literally no need for them to argue from the beginning. The whole joy of One Piece is watching this crew just be a crew and watching them fight. There's very interesting moments when they do it in like the canon in the show. And when they do, you feel it. Like it's hard. It's heartbreaking. In this one, and it sucks because Iñaki is so locked in as Luffy that he almost feels like he's in a different show. So that's my biggest criticism personally. I don't know if you're gonna feel the same way that I'm feeling, having no knowledge of the show, of like their camaraderie. But man, besides the scene where they're in the restaurant and Soro starts teasing Nami of like hey madam, how would madam like her water? Would you like when she starts making fun of him, and then Usopp is like, ooh, Nami has a boyfriend. Like sans that scene, which is like the scene that feels the most like them. Because like later when they're sitting outside and they're doing drinks and they start doing shots, like Soro teases her and tells her like what is there gold at the bottom of that cup? Why you're only watching? Like he doesn't know that she loves to steal and she loves money. We know that because we've seen Nami like be a thief and love money. Look up any kind of Nami fan art or Nami like pictures. She's always doing this with her hands. This is like her pose. Like she's always doing this because this means money. Like this is her thing. It's her personality. And I don't think they plasmated that in the show correctly, which sucks because I know they could, because they did everything else right. So I'm not saying delete it, start from scratch. I am saying if they're gonna do a season 2, those interactions, that camaraderie needs to be there, because they're creating like drama of fighting each other for no reason. This is the same thing they did when they did the Uncharted movie. Nathan Drake and fucking God, what's his name?
Sully.
Yeah, and Sully, like they love each other. Like they adore each other. Like they have no reason to be fighting as much as they did, but they love to sell it on oh my God, look at them like struggle. Like, no, they like each other. That's their thing. That's why we like the Straw Hats. So that's my biggest criticism. That's my biggest thing with the show. I have a couple of other cons, but that's my biggest con. Yeah. What do you think? Like, did you felt that way, or were you like, no, this is fun, it's fine?
8 minutes. Goddamn, Sheva, I could tell that bothered you. I started timing it after 3. I was like, let's see how long he goes with this without me saying a goddamn word.
Oh my God, sorry.
It might have been longer. No, okay. And again, to be fair, I have the blind goggles of only watching, like never seeing the anime.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in this. I'm not. I'm a pure viewer.
Yeah.
I don't hate it because I equate stuff like that to gradual character growth as the seasons go on. Like in Dragon Ball Z Abridged, I've been rewatching that lately. if you go from beginning to end, you notice the character changes, the character arcs that they establish from beginning to end. That change as the show goes on. Like initially, there were jokes about how Krillin was just a punching bag, but then he becomes like the emotional one of the team. Like one that's like, hey man, don't worry, I got my ass kicked all the time. You're good. Like he transforms as that character. Goku goes from being a decent father to like, hey, go on, and keeps going. Like it's just the character development happens gradually as the seasons go on. Everything you're telling me right now, I have no doubt that will become a bigger thing as the seasons go. Maybe in season 2, that's when they start joking and laughing because we've earned it. They got past that big moment of Nami's betrayal, which we could see it coming a mile away. That's fair, but it's not so much did you see it coming; it's how did they execute it. And I didn't hate their execution of it at all. It made sense, every part of it. She betrayed her village to help them out. She's been stealing, trying to get 100 million berries to pay them off. That way they'll leave the village alone and all this stuff. I liked all of that. I liked every bit of it. I didn't hate Zoro. I equate him a lot to Piccolo, which is like the serious like serious right hand of the main character. And I liked him. I liked him every bit. I liked him in the sword fighting. I liked his action sequences. Everything. I like his continued, I won't say bullying, that feels like the wrong word to say, but him fucking with the Nepo baby. I liked all that.
Oh yeah, with Helmeppo, yeah.
Yeah, and cutting his hair and stuff. I liked every bit of that. I like Himepa's
Helmeppo, yeah.
Himepa. I liked his character development along with oh god, what's the Marine kid's name now?
Kobe.
I liked their character development, slowly becoming antagonizing to each other, fighting, going back and forth, to becoming friends. Like, it got to a point where at the very end, I can't wait to see their relationship develop because they had a complete 180 with each other.
Yeah. I had written us in my notes as like one of my cons was like that we kept going back to the Marines. Because it's not that I didn't care, but it's like it makes sense why they did it. Because they want to keep them like as a constant looming force because Kobe and Helmeppo and the Marines show up like near the start, and they'll show up sporadically, but they're not main characters. Mm-hmm. But it makes sense that they kept them as like relatively main characters in this first season. Now that you mentioned Kobe, I want to talk about Kobe. Morgan Davis plays Kobe. He was the kid who fucked up with the book and Evil Dead Rises, so he was the oldest kid.
Was he? Damn, that hair does not make him look like it at all.
Yeah. So Morgan Davis, so he was Danny in Evil Dead Rise. I don't know how they did it, but they made this boy just look exactly like Kobe from the anime, which is so funny because it's such a unique design with like the pink hair and the glasses. But when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, he looks exactly as stupid as he looked in the show, and that's perfect. That's perfect. He works really well. He works really well as like the voice of reason to kind of contrast Luffy, but he's mostly there to be the audience surrogate. He's there for us to put ourselves in his position to interact with Luffy. And I like that the way
I don't hate that. I hope they keep that as the series goes. I genuinely like Kobe.
Yeah, me too. If they're gonna do it like the show, Kobe will show up like once every blue moon. Like he's not a main character at all, but he's there to introduce us to the world and to Luffy. So he was used correctly, I think, in this first season. Mihawk overall. Oh yeah, the design of Hawkeye's Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman and one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Jesus Christ, what a great!
I thought it was campy, but I liked it.
I loved it. I think that's exactly how Mihawk, like, he felt powerful. He felt like a destroyer. He felt like a cold-blooded killer, but there was like a pizzazz and like a fanciness to him. I even love his scene at the end when he meets up with Shanks and he gives him like the poster.
I love that whole aspect. The fact that Shanks is still up and he has his own crew, but you can see like his Usopp, Usopp's father, his swordsman, his Zoro. Like you see like those little aspects of like,
yeah,
I like this. And I know they're going to come to blows at some point. They're going to have to.
Cool.
Shanks and Luffy?
So here's the thing. There's been like 1,000 episodes of One Piece, a couple of movies. Shanks, he's so everything that you've seen about him so far in the live action show, that's like 70% of what he's done in the entire show.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
shit!
so
They're gonna have to figure out a way to keep him included in season 2 then.
yeah, so Shanks will show up every like uh 80 episodes,
Uh huh.
and he'll just be like in a beach with his crew drinking, and he'll be like, "Man, Luffy, I hope you're doing good." And that's it. That's all he does for like thing.
Do him and
And
Luffy ever like meet?
every once in a while he'll show up, and then in the last movie that came out, which is called One Piece Red, it is like the Straw Hats and the red hair pirates like kind of coming together. But they team up. They don't fight each other. They team up.
Oh, okay. You know what? I don't hate that. In a world of Ted Lasso pirates, I don't mind like the pure positivity.
Yeah, and I love Shanks. Shanks is one of my favorite characters. I don't have it with me. I have it upstairs, but I bought a figure of Shanks putting the hat on Luffy, so I have that somewhere here.
I hate
Yeah,
that. Well,
yeah.
do you feel like this show did a good job with the backstories? Because I loved all the backstories. I love Sanji's, but I
Oh
liked
yeah.
all the backstories of everyone.
Yeah, I like I did like them. I do think that we spent a little bit too long with them. But I understand why. You know, we have to they have to make us like them. And sure, they went to the trouble of like making all these finding all these kid actors to play them. The young, I think the better ones were Sanji's and Nami's. I think those were the most intense ones. I think Usopp's one went pretty quick, and Zoro I think was my favorite one. I think that's the one where like, because I love that story of like him and like the girl like being friends since they were kids and trying to surpass each other. And Zoro is kind of like beaten by the world because of the fact that he was not able to show that to her. But that's gonna be funny because if they go the way that I think they're going to the next season, one of my
She's
favorite.
alive.
No, but something really funny is gonna happen. Do you care, or should I tell you?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So you want me to tell you?
Spoilers don't affect me.
Okay, so random. So you know how the show ended with like a man looking at the Luffy's poster and then burning it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Captain Smoker. He's gonna be another character that will show up later. He
Okay.
is he's a captain of the Marines, but the thing is that he becomes kind of like the guy who's tailing Luffy, like more than his grandfather, you know. And but he becomes. Remember oh, fuck remember Lupin the Third?
Yeah.
Remember how there was like one detective that was always like after him?
Yeah.
So that's basically him for Luffy.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah. But the thing about so it's Captain Smoker, and then he has like his little side like his right hand woman actually, which is Tashigi.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and the funny thing, these two are some of my favorite side characters ever. Like Captain Smoker is like this huge, big, girly guy, super powerful. He ate a devil fruit. He controls smoke, and he's so fucking funny. Like he's so stupid, but it's so funny. But it's funny because he's so serious all the time. And then he has Tashigi, who is this like really young but very talented sword woman for the Marines. And the thing is that she looks exactly like Zoro's childhood friend, Quina. So she looks exactly like him, like her. Not her, just a coincidence. So it's funny because like there's a moment where like and also she's blind as a bat. Like she wears glasses, but she cannot fucking see anything. And she's this very kind, very like awkward character. And there's like this moment where like it's gonna happen in the next arc where like so Zoro is looking to buy 2 new swords because his 2 swords kind of got destroyed in this fight with Mihawk. And he walks into the store and he's looking at the swords, and she walks in and she's like, "Hey, I'm looking for this guy called Roronoa Sora. Have you seen him?" And he's like, "No." She's like, "Good, thank you." And And then like she helps him buy like new swords, even though that's who she's like chasing. And then they have this huge fight, and he beats her, of course. But it's like the one moment where we get to see Zoro like, I don't know, blush and like even get flustered because he gets upset
Oh,
just looking at her, and she's like, because like he beats her in a duel, and she goes up to him the same way that he went to Mihawk. Like he kind of she goes like, well, slash me, like just do it, like do it at the front. And he's
yeah.
like, no. And he's like, no. And she's like, why? Is it because I'm a girl? You don't want to hate me because I'm a girl? And he's like, no. How fucking dare you look like my friend? I hate you. He's like, like,
Yeah.
and they have like those, and it's so funny. It's so funny to see Zoro just like straight face Zoro just like break down. So I love Smoker and Tashigi. I'm so excited that they're gonna show up. If they make it season, it needs to start with them. Because they're some of my favorite characters, just to the side. And I love her interactions with Soto. I think they're super funny. Yeah, so I went with that from Mihawk because that was there.
Mhm.
Um
Can we talk
yeah,
about Gramps?
yeah, let's talk about Garp, Monkey D. Garp. You
I
saw it coming?
No, well, mainly because I was trained to look for nationality when people are related. So I was like, wait, what? You know what? It's fine. In this world, fucking nothing matters. Go. So no, I did not see it coming, but I liked the continued confrontation between the two. You know, the whole I'm not gonna stop, and the grandpa trying to push him like I'm gonna make you quit. Like that, like that's an old school mentality that works. Like I'm gonna run your ass into the ground until you stop. Never gonna
Yeah.
stop. All right, just wanted to make sure you were serious. Good luck, and that's enough. Um, so no, I liked that aspect of it. I loved the final fight between him and Luffy, and the show does a very good job of just like clearly showing the fact that the Pirate King and Luffy both had that smile, like even in the face of defeat, like
Mhm.
it's gonna be okay. Like that one trait that all protagonists really share. Like Goku has that, Vegeta has that, Edward Elric has that, Alphonse had that.
Mhm.
Ash had that all the time. I know I'm listing the most basic bitch animes. I'm sorry, I'm not that much of an expert. But the whole smiling in the face of defeat, like that's a good trait to have. And I love that that's his reaction when his grandpa initially basically beats the living shit out of him
Yeah.
in front of everybody.
Mhm.
Um, so no, I like that whole aspect of the story the whole way through. I really like the grandpa. I don't think there was a straight up bad character in the bunch in this
Yeah,
entire show. And
I
that's a compliment.
agree. I agree, especially because when you realize that they did not made up any new characters, like these are all characters that existed in the show. So it's great the fact that they even the most random, smallest roles, like they figured we might as well use the real ones, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about thesis and Easter eggs. So these are like tiny little Easter eggs that they included. I like that they weren't so obvious. They were actually very, very sweet and very, very small. Um, First of all, well, I did mention the pirates in the intro, like in the first scene. Smoker being teased. The fact that Jinmei is mentioned. There's a moment where they're talking about like fishmen and humans getting along, and Arlong says like Jinmei is a fool. Jinmei is a fisherman that is one of the seven wonders of the sea, and he
Mhm.
will eventually become a member of the Straw Hats. So it's important that it's cool that they mentioned him, even though
Mhm.
they had like no reason to.
The things for the
Um,
hardcore fans that like will notice.
yeah, the best one, I think, and this is so small, I can't believe they did this. There's a scene in like the flashbacks for Luffy's backstory when he's a kid. Like right after he stabs himself in the eye, like right under the eye, and Shanks is helping him like heal from it.
Mhm.
Um During that scene, there's a little song playing in the background. That song is called Bing Sake, and it's one of the saddest. It's related to one of the saddest and most memorable moments in One Piece. So it's so cool that they included that there because it's like a song that like all pirates know.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also tied to like another character that shows up later. So it's so cool that they included that as like, of course, it's a song that will be playing in the background. Like it's a song for pirates, of course.
Yeah.
The other one is they used the original intro, that song "We Are," which is the first One Piece intro, is one of the most memorable ones. They used an instrumental version when the Going Merry is like sailing for the first time when they leave Usopp's village. It's very
Oh,
small.
also,
Yeah.
I know, I'm sure you know this. I didn't notice that till after the fact. Usopp's Fallibles.
What's up? What?
Usopp's Fallibles. Do you know that?
Fallables?
Yeah, you've
What do
never
you
heard
mean?
that one?
What do you mean?
Usopp's Fables, but they pronounce it Fallibles because Usopp keeps telling all these tall tales.
Oh
So
yeah,
then
so
you call it
him.
Fable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a story. Well, it's a play here in the U.S. I guess maybe they've never.
The one
I
about the
thought it was
liar?
a. Huh?
The one about the liar?
Yeah.
Or oh yeah, yeah, the story that Nami's reading to Zoro. Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
Usopp keeps telling the story. I just noticed that. I was like, oh, wait a second, that's a lyrical, right? That's a literary reference. I like that.
yeah. It goes beyond actually. If you see Usopp's design in the anime, he has a very long nose. It's because
Uh-huh.
he tells a lot of lies. That's why.
Oh my
Uh,
god. That's right on point. I also know in
yeah,
the anime that he fights Luffy at some point for some reason. I don't know why. I just know that they fight.
it's a very sad moment,
Can I
and
ask you
it's
why? Can you tell me?
yes, yeah, spoilers. So the Going Merry is pretty much almost destroyed. Like it withered and a lot of damage,
Uh-huh.
and it like it's beyond being repaired. It cannot be repaired.
Mhm.
And all the straw hats kind of like sit together and they decide, okay, we're gonna let the Mary die. Like it's time. Like we can't like it's beyond fixing,
Mhm.
and we need to start over. And Usopp does not agree to this because he feels tied to the Mary because it came from his village. It came from Kaya, who is his best friend, and he feels connected to the Mary because he's in charge of repairing it, and he feels it. This is more like implied, but like he feels that if the Straw Hats can outgrow the Mary, they can outgrow him.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and so they get into a fight because Usopp is like, we have to fix it, and Luffy's like, we cannot fix it, man. And they get into a huge fight. It leads
For
to
Luffy to do that, that's saying something. Because Luffy's the
yeah,
most like positive motherfucker on the planet.
yeah, and it leads to Usopp even leaving the Straw Hats for a bit, and then he like the reuniting moment is oh god one of the most this show is so good. Okay, it makes you go through the motions. Yeah, but yeah, it's yeah, that's basically what it is.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I imagine that's like a season 3 or season 4 fight.
kind of, yeah.
But
Um,
okay. Well, you did also have a list of negatives. Are there more positives that you want to highlight or more negatives?
I'll run by them quick. Yeah, using We Are, Sora's backstory, Usopp and Kaya kissing. They were not relationshipy in the anime, but it's kind of cute that they included that. Makes sense. It made sense. They always had that chemistry. That little quick scene of Nami ignoring Sanji and hugging Zoro and Usopp when they reunite, that was beautiful. That was super funny. That was both touching and funny.
Mhm.
And then Sanji just like staying there, like,
All
okay,
right.
it makes sense. She doesn't fucking know him. And then two, I think, really, really good moments. Luffy's wanted poster, like that whole where he finally sees it, when everyone that we've seen starts seeing it, when Shanks sees it. It's a beautiful moment. And the fact that it's also the same poster as in the anime, like he's doing the same pose with the hand and Usopp in the back, like it's
Yeah.
it's perfect. Um especially because like this is super random and super funny, but like every one of the Straw Hats eventually gets like a wanted poster, and they all get like this like super terrible like pictures. Like all the pictures are like them fighting or them bleeding or them suffering. Like it's all them suffering, except for Nami, because Nami sees the guy taking the picture and she just starts to like pose. She just starts to like fucking post. Like if you see if you look up like Straw Hat wanted posters, like everyone has like this like serious faces on, and then Nami's just like looking hot as shit just in the posters, just fucking
I'm
voguing and
Googling
shit.
as we speak. Let's see.
Yeah, just look up
One
Straw.
Piece Straw Hat wanted posters. Let's
Yeah,
see
like all
images.
all of them are serious, and then Nami's just fucking just slaying in the poster.
Well,
Um,
oh my gosh, he is modeling.
yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, so I like that they introduce the posters and it ends with like Luffy like winning, like he wanted this, he wanted that poster. And also the other moment is the when they finally reveal like the Jolly Roger with like the Straw Hat logo. Like even the reveal was like slow, like the way that they put down the veil, like it was beautiful, it was great. And then Luffy seeing it and yelling, like great moment, just an overall great moment. And then of course the Straw Hats like all putting their feet on the barrel and just like yeah, classic One Piece, classic Straw Hats. Great. Those are my pros. Was there a pro that you wanted to mention maybe that I didn't get to?
The yeah, and I touched on it lightly. I don't know One Piece. I know I like Zoro and Sanji. I know that, and I know because I watched the show called Death Battle. They featured both Zoro and Sanji in them, and I
Okay.
know a little bit about his backstory about the All Blue, and the fact that he won't fight because he is a chef, and it has
Yeah.
been like he won't risk his hands even if death is on the table. He
Oh
will
yeah.
not put up his fists. I wish they had touched on that. Like I would, but I love the fight scenes in this entire show. Like
Yeah.
the fight scenes were as anime as you could be, but being as realistic as you could be. I love the final episode where Zoro and Sanji are like, let's take him. Like they handle all of the villains at the very end, like in this huge battle. I love the action sequences. I really like the characters. I don't have any negatives about this show, but I think that's because I never watched the anime. I don't have anything to compare it to.
Hmm.
I only have this live action show, and for what I can tell, everything they did so far, they've done right. I liked it.
Yeah.
I even like the fact that that little bastard clown returned.
Oh yeah. At the end. Yeah.
Yeah,
He ends up doing a partnership with Alvida. Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know. It would have been more fun if they had done the thing that she's gonna do. So she ends. So in between like this these arcs, she eats a devil fruit, and she
Mm-hmm.
looks completely different afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool because for a bit you're like, who is she? Where did she come from? Why is she with Buggy? And then it's like, oh, she's Alvida, like from the beginning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay. So my cons, I'm gonna like go fast because I can go 8 minutes. Like we know now. Number one, the child actors acting. I'm sorry, they can improve definitely.
Are you
Um,
mocking children that act,
no, I'm
Shema?
saying I'm saying I'm sure they can grow up to give
I'm sure
incredible
that they can have
performances one day.
improvement.
Yeah. Except for the Luffy, the rest of the Straw Hats feel stilted. I did mention that. There's a bit of weird editing and pacing and cuts, but I'm kind of used to that from Netflix shows. So yeah, excessive scenes of Kobe and the Marines. They touched on that. The show expects us to know the Straw Hats personalities to fill in the gaps, which I think, God, it's so hard to just detach myself from the show. That's why I wanted to know your opinion because I'm like, how does this look to like an outsider? Like, yeah,
It
uh,
looks predictably fine. I think that there's a lot of gaps in there, but that's because you only have 8 episodes. You only have 8 hours. There's limited
yeah,
screen time. I think they'll do a lot more as the seasons go. Because again, look at Zoro, Sanji, and Nami. They have very limited screen time, let alone character development. I think, but actually, no. I'd argue with you, man. I think Nami had a lot of character development during the last 2 episodes.
yeah.
They
In
did
the
more
last
than
two
enough.
episodes, yeah, in the last two episodes, I'm not talking about like the development of like her arc. I'm talking about her camaraderie, her personality, like her showing up. Because like Nami is fun. Nami's funny. Nami's trustable. Nami's flirty. Nami's teasing. Like she has a big personality, and I feel like here she like from the beginning she's like I hate pirates, and like that's her personality. That's it. And I feel like a lot of that is missing. Like for example, do you think Sanji likes Nami? Like, do you think
But I
that
think
or
he
not?
likes any woman.
Okay, yes, but he does. But like for example, he is at Nami's beck and call. He's like you need a floor, like I'll I'll lie there, you know. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's like that for Nami, and Nami doesn't turn him away. On the contrary, she's like, "Oh, thank you." Like she's like she kind
Mm-hmm.
of rolls with it. and it's funny because like she's very clearly taking advantage of him, but like it's funny. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of funny. And
No, I get where you're going.
here they don't have a chance to explore that. They don't have a chance to do that. Like the very few moments that she has with the Straw Hats, they should have been a little bit more funny. I'm gonna find like a quick little scene of them like before she betrays them, and you're gonna see they're buddies. You know, they have fun with each other, and I feel like that was a little bit missing there. Her arc, of course, it's done perfectly and stuff. So yeah, the camaraderie is missing. Nami's betrayal is too obvious from the first episode. Redemption does not feel as earned. So I've been teasing this. So like I've been saying that there's one scene that makes you become like a like kind of attacks you for life. To me, that scene is the help me, Luffy, please help me scene. Okay, that to me is like that's it. To me, when they announced the live action, when the first trailer came out, I said, if they don't nail that scene, this whole thing doesn't work. Okay. Now, the big change that they did is that they made it at night instead of during the day. Is it didn't hit in the same way that the anime hit. It's not bad. Definitely not bad. But because it's only 8 episodes and because the episodes are long, it didn't hit the same way because the pacing was very, very fast. So in that scene, she's stabbing herself in the tattoo. Luffy stops her, and then it's like a good minute or two, a minute and a half, where she's just yelling at him and crying to leave and to go, and throwing dirt at him and just fucking leave. And then there's like and then Luffy is just looking at her like he's not consoling her, he's not stopping her, he's not hugging her, he's just kind of letting her go through the motions until she finally like stops and turns and goes like, help me. And he takes off his hat, puts it on her head, and just yells, of course I will, and then goes to the rest of the crew is just there waiting for him. That moment is beat for beat like the anime. It's a well done recreation. It reminded me of like when they recreated scenes from The Last of Us in the show. Even the cuts to like them going like right, like it's exactly like the anime. But I don't know, something about the scene doesn't feel, it's not hitting like it's supposed to hit. And I don't know if it's me. The problem is me, okay? Because that scene is fucking perfect, man. It's like one of the most perfect scenes in fiction. And it's an 8, it's not a 10, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the scene for me. Cons, Gold Roger not saying I left it all in one piece. Helmeppo's butt cheeks in the first episode. I didn't need to see that, man. I was watching it with family. I didn't need to see that. They didn't use Overtaken, which is one of the like the battle music. I thought it was missing. The effect when Sora's swords break, I think it's downright fucking terrible. They could have just not showed it, like honestly. And I think my last gripe with the show is that Luffy, I hate to say this, Luffy is a little too wholesome in this.
Really?
Luffy is wholesome in the anime. He definitely is. He's a fucking saint in the show.
Hey, maybe like okay. I can see where you're coming from on that last one. I'll give you a ground. I can see where you're coming from. I have a counter. Give him time.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those moments where it's like, because it's not a continuously running show, they need to leave him on a good note. That way they can tear him down in season 2. I think we'll see more character development from these guys. I think so far this show has been number 1 on Netflix for several days. It was number 1 on Netflix in 8 different countries at one point. I genuinely think that this show will be renewed for season 2. And I think we'll see more character development when season 2 comes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So Luffy, yes, he is wholesome. Yes, he is the leader. He is the captain. But he's a bit of a jerk. Not because he's mean, but because he's a kid and a pirate. Like, for example, when he first meets Alvida, like at the beginning of the show, like she'll be like, she'll be like, "Who are you?" And Luffy will be like, "Wow, you're fat." Like that's the first thing that he says.
Oh my god.
Like it's the first thing that he says. He's a bit of a jerk, like a little bit. And I feel like they didn't let him be that because he needed to be like all the good while
He
all the
needs to be
others.
loved first before he can be hated.
Yeah, and like no, nobody hates Luffy, but he's not a saint. He's a pirate, you know. Um, but yeah, anyway, it's a super small gripe. I know why they did it. You know, they want Luffy to be this kind of character, but same thing with the rest of the Straw Hats. It needs to be 3-dimensional. It needs to be complete. It's a complete package. So those were my only cons. Overall, I don't dislike the show. On the contrary, I quite like it. I think it is the best anime live action adaptation that's ever been done, but that's a very, very, very small club. To me, this is not a 10 out of 10. To me, this is like an 8.6 out of 10.
Mhm.
I do want another season. I do want more seasons because if they adapt the next season, then we're definitely gonna get Captain Smoker. We're definitely gonna get Tashigi. We're gonna get them getting to the Grand Line. We're
Maybe
gonna
Chopper.
definitely Chopper, definitely Nico Robin. Oh my god, that's my One Piece crush right there, Nico Robin.
Isn't she? I always thought she was Nami's sister or something.
No, she's like another member of the Straw Hats. She's like in her 30s. She's oof. Oof. Anyway,
Folks, in case you can't tell, Chema is like blushing into a different kind of color red.
she makes me feel some kind of way, man. She just does that.
No judgment.
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting because as an avid fan, you have a very particular feeling about this. You say what, 8 out of 10?
8.6, 8.7 out of 10. It's definitely good. It's definitely great. I'm more excited that this makes more people into fans than, you know. But I've talked to people who love the anime and they've been enjoying this. I don't know if they're having the same gripes as me. Maybe this is a me problem. It could most likely be. So yeah, no, I don't want my criticisms to be taking as like me hating on the show. I don't. On the contrary, I quite really like the show. I do want another season, but I think they need to be addressed because I don't see anyone talking about them. So yeah, I did hear that the show was supposed to be 10 episodes, which I would have liked. I would have preferred if it was 10 episodes instead of 8. But maybe the next season can be 10, hopefully. Yeah, I'm excited. I do want them to come back. And yeah, because I think they have a little gold mine here that they could exploit, especially because these actors, they also Netflix needs to do something because and start a new season immediately because these actors are only getting older. Like all the Straw Hats are 10 years older than Iñaki. So yeah, yeah, all the Straw Hats are in their 30s except for Iñaki, who's 20. So yeah, there's a gap there, and can't lose it. So yeah, other than that, I loved it. I love the One Piece live action. I definitely suggest everyone watch it if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, and if you finish this and you want more, guess what? There's over 1,000 episodes of more. So yeah, go crazy.
Go watch it.
Yeah, 8.7 out of 10.
I think A minus. Really, really good. Worth the watch. Sit down and watch it. The whole thing. It is worth it. I definitely recommend it. I don't have much negative to say about it at all.
All right. Well, I think that should do it. Do you watch it with Nikki or do you watch it by yourself?
I watched it by myself.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask.
But still great.
Think. Yeah, definitely good. I'm excited for more people to watch it and just discover like the fun that is hanging out with Straw Hats. So yeah, so that should cover everything. That should be the review of One Piece. I think this is gonna be a pretty long episode. What are we doing next?
The Haunting in Venice.
The Haunting of what?
The Haunting in Venice.
What is that?
Murder on the Orient Express, Hercule Poirot.
There's a new one?
Yep. The Haunting in Venice.
But is it the same guy? Or is it a new guy?
Same guy.
No idea. Is it in theaters?
It's hitting theaters Friday.
Okay, I'll look it up and I'll let you know.
Let me know.
All right,
Perfect.
sounds good. Well, thank you so much for letting me just explode here, man. Thank you for letting me
I
go
was like,
off.
this is Chema. You let me do that for the Batman, sir. Front and center. You're driving. Go,
Thank you. I promise I won't do that again. This is
dude.
this is as much organized as you're ever gonna get me.
I
Um,
I'm so glad that you got a property this year that like I could tell you had a lot to say and you really loved it. And I that's not a bad thing, man. Don't apologize for that.
yeah. I had a blast with it, so it was
I'm
great to sit
glad.
down and to talk about it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. My name was Shema,
I've been Eddie.
and this was the rollback. Signing off with a reminder that you can totally watch One Piece. You please just fucking watch One Piece, please, for the love of God. Like there are 1,000 episodes, but like they're only like 22 minutes, and if you count the intro and the outro and the recap, it's only like 15 minutes. So really, you could watch it like right now. It's all on Crunchyroll. It's all on Netflix. Like you could watch it. Right, it's dubbed. Like you can watch it dubbed. It's no problem. Like it's better than the 4 Kids fucking stupid dub that happened. So like just fucking watch One Piece, man. You're not gonna fucking regret it. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.